Namaste, yogis. This is Adrienne.
And Natalie. Namaste.
Welcome to another episode of How Yoga Changed My Life, a podcast. So Natalie and I decided today we were going to go rogue on the whole How Yoga Changed My Life formula. Because we have
We're living wild.
Yeah,
today.
we are. We're living life on the edge today.
We're living life on the yoga edge.
On the yoga edge. We just thought that it would be kind of interesting. We've been both practitioners of yoga for years and years and years and decades and decades and decades together. And we thought it would be kind of cool to give you guys our top 10 things that we wish we knew when we first started yoga.
Yes, absolutely.
There's
I
so
think
many.
there are a lot of commonalities. You wander in your brand new yoga pants and you don't know what to expect. So
No,
we're going to help you get comfortable.
exactly.
We're giving you a shortcut to feeling like a experienced, confident yogi.
Well, yeah, I mean, think about how uncomfortable it is to walk into a yoga studio the first time, right?
Yeah.
First of all, it's if you're going to an actual studio, not inside like a fitness center or a gym or club or something like that, you're going into like a standalone yoga studio. You walk in for the first time, it's like the smells, the sights, the music, the colors, whatever it looks like, right? But then it's like you practice barefoot. You're on a yoga mat. Maybe you don't have a yoga mat. You need to get one, right? But how many times as a yoga teacher have I had to say, hey, wait, don't walk in the studio yet. You got to take your shoes off, right? So we want to help.
Absolutely.
We want to help you get through the embarrassment that might happen if you were to walk into a yoga studio, or some thoughts that you may have had about yoga that are really myths or not true. So let's start it off with number 10, Natalie. Here we go. Touching your toes is not the point.
Not the point.
No.
Flexibility is not the point.
Nope. It's actually, I love this quote. It's not about whether you can touch your toes. It's what you learn on the way down.
Oh, yeah, that is great. That's fantastic. The point isn't even necessarily to get better at touching your toes. It's not like, oh, I can't touch my toes, I can't go, but someday I'll be able to. 100% flexibility, not the point.
No. Because really flexibility.
It's a happy accident.
Yeah. I mean, flexibility comes and goes, right? There's one day
Absolutely.
where you're going to feel amazing and you might be stretchy, bendy, like Gumby. And then the next day you feel like a tin man, It just can happen. But it's really about learning how to move your body in the body you've been given, not trying to, be a certain type of person. It's all about, or certain type of body. It's really about the flexibility comes from your mind first, being open.
Yeah. And I think after practicing for years and years, you start to notice that who I am on Tuesday is not the same person I was on Monday. And I don't even know why, but it changes from year to year, certainly. But it absolutely changes from day to day, and maybe the way I slept or the way I ate or whatever. And 1 minute your balance is surprising yourself. You're like, look at me, I can balance through the whole class. I'm amazing. And the very next class, you can't hold yourself upright.
Right.
Um, and uh, and just kind of tuning in and accepting those differences. It's like I don't have to do exactly what I could do yesterday or last year. It's like, where am I today? Okay, well, today I'm kind of tight and off balance.
Yeah.
Okie dokie.
Yeah.
Here we go.
Yeah. And that kind of leads us into the next one. It's like, hey, if you're worried about other people watching you, we have number 9 as everyone is focused on themselves. No one is really watching you at all. Hopefully the teacher, obviously, but we always think that we're being judged by the person that's next to us, or we need to look like the person next to us, or why is it that they can do crow and I can't,
Right.
And really at the end of the day, nobody is watching you. They're too busy worried about what's going on in their own body, on their own four corners of the mat, or worried about kind of where they are in their practice that day. So it's not about what others are doing or comparing and contrasting. It's literally, that's what is so interesting to me about yoga, because it means yoke, it means union, it means kind of, this connectedness, right? But yet when we go to a yoga practice, we're not competing with or comparing ourselves to someone next to us. We're just practicing together in unity or, united. So I think that like having this idea of being in sports, competitive sports, or,
Sure,
taking
sure, sure,
like,
sure.
Olympic weightlifting or, other large group classes with weights or whatever. It's like, it isn't about being perfect. It's not about what you're doing and what others are doing. It's about your body, your time, your mat.
Honestly, to a certain extent, even your instructor isn't keeping track of you.
Right.
um in that your instructor is making decisions about how the class is going to flow in real time. Certainly we come in
Mhm.
with a sequence, but adjustments have to be made in real time. And so I'm not spending any energy thinking, oh geez, student over in spot number 21 could do dancer pose really well a month ago, last time we did it, and is unable to reach for their leg at all. And something, something must be wrong. Like none of that is happening.
Mm-mm.
Like I'm watching the class as a whole. And if I look as a whole and I see um where we're going is a little too difficult, I'll pivot. Or where we're
Hmm.
going is a little too simplified, I'll pivot. Or does person on spot number 21, they need a block?
Yeah,
I'll bring them a block. But I'm not like, it's all in the moment. It's all in the moment. And there's absolutely no energy to thinking specifically about this client and what they're lacking today. Like,
for
that's not
sure.
happening.
Well, even to the point of like, we're not judging them, being like, oh, look at that loser can't do dancer today. Like, we don't care.
Absolutely never.
But getting into number 8, you made us a good segue with the block.
Yeah,
Modifications are smart, not shameful. So
absolutely.
one of the things that
Absolutely.
I don't even like the word modification. I like the word variation because I feel like
Yeah.
modification makes me feel like I'm less than. Like I had to modify because the way that it was presented to me, I can't do it. Right. And so I feel
Yeah,
like
yeah,
a variation is what we should be after because there is no perfect pose. Right. And so if you're using your block, you're bringing the ground up to you, or you're making your arm longer, or you're
right, right.
making the pose more challenging by using a block. So
Yeah.
when teachers or yoga studios or people's opinions about props in class, it drives me fucking crazy because it's like, how are you expected to learn if you cannot make your arm longer or you cannot find the challenge without a strap? You need these kind of tools to be able to embrace yoga in your body that day.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know,
Absolutely. Yeah.
it makes me crazy when I hear people are like, like I try a lot of times in classes to say, like, grab 2 blocks, grab this, grab that. And I used to just make fun of myself a lot because I would be like, okay, grab 2 blocks, a bolster, a strap, a stick of gum, a turtle, a stick of dynamite, a paper clip, and,
And your best friend.
and your best friend and some tinfoil. And let's see what we can do on our mat.
And
Right.
so
It's like, I feel like we should be MacGyvering our way through these practices,
yeah.
right? Like
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
it's not about you can't do something and you have to use this prop. Props are there to build you up and they're also there to challenge you. So don't skip grabbing the props when you go in. You want to look like a professional yogi, you grab every one of the props that's up on that wall and you bring it to your mat with you. That's what I would do.
You know, you love props more than I do. I don't have a problem with them. I think I'm just lazy. I
Well, you also were
for
like Ashtanga. You grew up
Yeah,
in Ashtanga
no, it's
world.
true.
That's
No, that's
different.
true. And so, like, yeah, I've talked about that before on the pod. It's just that that is not something that I bring to the table. Is I don't even know what to do. I told you I've walked into Iyengar and they're like, grab 2 chairs. I'm like, 2 chairs?
Yeah.
Oh my
What?
God. Like, I don't even begin to know what to do with that. I will say for me, for my body, for my practice, a pose that I never know how my body is going to respond to is pigeon. It's just
Mm.
kind of your basic pose. It's nothing unusual. You're going to see it in a lot of classes. And there are some days that I get into pigeon pose and I can flatten my chest down on top of my leg and it feels fantastic. And And that's easy. And there are other days I get in and my chest is fully upright and I can barely bend my elbows. And and I just don't know. It's just that particular part of my body. Sometimes it's more flexible than others. And so sometimes I'm on my hands and my elbows are bent. And sometimes I'm stacking my fists. I can
Hmm.
get down low enough so that two fists stacked on top of each other and my head rested on that, lifts me up 6 or 7 inches. And that's all I need. Sometimes I can stack flat hands on top of each other. That buys me an extra 2 or 3
Yeah,
inches.
exactly.
Some days I can get my face on the mat. It's just,
Just depends on the body that day. And
yeah,
that's I think the best part about yoga is that it really does teach you that just to be okay in what you got at that
yeah,
time, because there's nothing else you can do.
100%.
There's nothing else you
Yeah,
can do. But you
yeah.
are number 7 is you're allowed to laugh. You know, you're allowed to laugh. You're allowed to cry,
Yes.
right? You're
Yeah.
allowed
There's
to
an
do those
unusual amount of
things.
crying in yoga.
Yeah, I mean, everybody walks into yoga space and I'll be like, good morning, yogis. And no one says a word. Or, how does that feel? Or what do you guys think? And no one says anything. And I'm like, okay,
Yeah.
crickets, you can speak in class. It's
Yeah.
okay. Obviously, I don't want you to be like yelling out my name in the middle of class to have me come over and help you with something. But,
Which has also happened.
it's happened for sure. I don't mind if I'm teaching and you start sweating and you're never a sweater and you yell over, Adrienne, look, I'm sweating. I will love that, right? Interact with me.
That's a true story.
That's a true
That actually
story.
happened.
Yes. One of my favorite students. I love her to death. And she came to my class and was like, I never sweat. I just don't sweat. It just doesn't happen. And we're in like a 95-degree room. It's hot, it's sweaty. And
It's a fast class.
it's a
It was a
fast
fast
class.
class.
Yeah. We get to Sun B and she is across the room and she goes, Adrienne, Adrienne. I'm like, oh my God, did you fall? Did you hurt yourself? Like, are you okay? What's going on? Look, I'm sweating. And I'm like, yes, that's it. Like, this is not like a preacher being up on a stage telling
Oh
you,
yeah. 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 Yeah.
I'm not.
We're not gurus.
No, not at all. And we're allowed to laugh and you're allowed to
Yeah.
laugh. And there are weird names and poses. Sometimes
There
people
are.
fart, right?
Yes.
Sometimes people giggle. Sometimes people are crying their eyes out because of an emotional release from a posture or something. But
Sometimes
no,
people fall down.
yes. And know that it's
I have
okay.
fallen down.
Oh my gosh, I've fallen
I
down so many times.
I fell down once, and this was not early on in my yoga experience. I fell down once in Warrior Two. I have no explanation for it still. From Warrior One to Warrior Two, as I've done 1,000 times before and 1,000 times since,
Yeah.
and I lost my balance.
I'm always afraid that I'm
I
going to
don't know what
fall.
happened.
Yeah, and I'm always afraid I'm going to fall in like when we're in a packed class and you're doing like a
Oh yeah, yeah.
wide-legged
Take
forward
everybody
fold.
down.
Yeah. And then you're the one that gets up in the headstand or the tripod headstand and you're like, up in the air and then all of a sudden it's like boom 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 boom. You just knock everybody asses over.
Take everybody down.
Yeah. I haven't seen
100%.
that though. I've been kicked a few times and I've been sweated on a bunch, but like,
Yeah,
yoga
not
is,
my favorite, but yeah,
yeah, I mean, but it is what it is. It's the
it is what
practice.
it
It's
is.
the
Yeah, no,
practice.
100%.
But
100%.
moving on to number 6,
I
yoga.
don't remember number 6.
I know I have the list. That's why I'm saying it because I figured Adrienne controls the list. Natalie keeps Adrienne on track. We have our roles.
We have our roles.
Yeah. So number 6, yoga
Mhm.
will surprise you.
Oh, yeah.
Mhm.
Wow, that's a big one. That's a really, really, really big one. I think that when I first walked in, I was like, yoga's about being flexible and it's
Mhm.
going to turn me into a pretzel. And if you have any kind of athletic background at all, it's just like, I'm going to reach higher and I'm going to bend deeper and I'm going to splittier. It's like every single second of it is to the extreme and to the best I can do. And um, oh, as we covered with number 10, it's like that's not the point. That's
No.
not why I'm here.
And
Maybe
most of
that's
it.
why I walked in on day one, but that's not the point.
Right. Well, and what's interesting about it too is like I noticed that it was kind of after I started doing teacher training, but I could say like when I first started practicing yoga, when like we lived up in Chicago or even Atlanta, it was like feeling of, I'm okay. You know,
Mhm.
like I didn't have this huge desire anymore to be the best at something or to like be the best at doing pigeon or handstands or headstands. It was like, no, I just wanted to
Mhm.
feel good in the practice. And then I found myself, and I know this is not 100% true for most people, but I did find myself being nicer and kinder and more
Mhm.
patient and more communicative and better listener, right? Like just because my yoga practice would make me slow down,
Yeah.
it would make me sit in those uncomfortable positions and go, okay, you're okay. You can get through this. So yoga is surprising. And it just sometimes it takes a little bit of time. Sometimes it sneaks up on you. And other times, you're smack dab in the middle of class and you're crying in half pigeon. You're wondering what's
It has
going on.
happened.
Yeah. And it's all fine and it's all normal. We've all been there. And so just know that like the surprises that you get from yoga are the things that will keep you coming back because of the way you feel.
I know when I first went to yoga, there's often, you walk in and there's like this mm, ante room, a reception room. So you go in and you got to put all your stuff, like all your stuff in the
Mhm.
cubbies. And it's like, okay, it's not just your shoes or whatever, but it's you have to leave your purse behind. You have to
Mhm.
leave your phone behind.
Mhm.
It's like, okay, this stuff is expensive. This is important. This stuff is my life. But what if my kids? What if my job? Whatever, but you
Yeah.
got to put it all in the cubby and you got to go in the room. And initially, like that just feels very strange and very, very awkward. But then if you continue to come, you, or I at least learned to like let go of my life for that little sliver of time during the
Mhm.
day. And then that's what yoga became for me. So then it wasn't about touching my toes or turning into a human pretzel. Then it was like that hour of the day when I couldn't be reached
Mhm.
and I didn't belong to anybody or any other responsibilities. And I could just like have that quiet time or have that time with me and my mind or my body or movement or whatever it was, but I didn't belong to anything else.
Right.
For
Right.
just a little bit.
It is funny to watch people when they walk in and they have to put all their stuff away and it's like this,
Yeah.
it's an attachment, right?
Yeah.
It's like
Yeah.
it's
It's a
like
little
a
bit of panic, just
right,
a
it's
little
like a
bit.
lifeline, right? It's
Mhm.
like it's
Mhm.
okay. I had to remind myself of that too, even like teaching where I'm like I can't be reached when I'm teaching.
Mhm.
Unless somebody comes to the studio or walks in the door, but like I can't be called on the phone. My phone's not on, right? I don't have
Yeah.
the ability, but it's also like life is like that. There are going to be moments where you need to unplug and taking those moments in and being with your breath and your body and your mind and your spirit and not having, your phone there, your purse, or any other kind of outside attachments. It's a
Yeah.
very freeing and beautiful
Yeah.
experience for sure.
It is. I think it's healthy. I do. For me, from my experience, for my brain,
Yeah,
healthy.
for sure. Are you ready for number 5?
Hit me.
Okay. It's not about perfection, it's about progress.
Yes. Absolutely. Absolutely. So the objective is not to someday in the future do a perfect dancer's pose, do a perfect pigeon, do a perfect whatever. The objective is to get comfortable in your body. Yeah,
Mhm.
that's kind of the end of that sentence. To
Yeah.
get comfortable in your body.
Right. And it's really like the practice is there for you throughout all the stages, ages and phases of your
Mm-hmm.
life, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
all of your time you can still be practicing yoga. Like whether you're at home sick with the flu and you can't move your body, you can breathe.
Yeah,
If
absolutely.
you can meditate. There's so many elements of yoga. It's not just about the movement practice, it's about the progress that you make with yourself and getting rid of this feeling of I have to be this thing or I have to be at this level or I have to beat these people at this. It's like, no, it's not about any of those things. It's about what's happening in your body that day at that very moment. It's the same thing. One of our friends, Laura, I love the way she explains like when we have to do like weight loss clients, right? And we have a
Hmm.
client that comes in and they have to hop on the scale and as a woman, I used to have a really hard time with getting on the scale, really hard
Hmm.
time. And I would think about that number, and that number would just make me feel terrible, or that number would make me feel great. But that number, whatever it was based on how I was going to feel, right? Like I didn't get to
Right.
choose that feeling. It was like what that number was going to do. And Laura says the number on the scale is just your body in relation to gravity at that very moment. That's it.
Yeah.
And then it's
Yeah.
done. So I feel that
Yeah.
that's really interesting because it is just that moment. You can't go back and
Yeah.
recreate a yoga class. You can't go back and teach the same yoga class or take the same yoga class. They're all different every single day because cellularly, you're different.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I think it differentiates yoga from other body-centered experiences, other athletic experiences, in that if you've grown up doing any kind of sports or any kind of dance or any kind of martial arts,
Hmm.
there's a goal.
Yeah. Yeah.
In sports, there's literally a goal.
Yeah. Win. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah.
and,
Or like even in martial arts, it's like going up to the different black
yeah,
belt, different belt levels,
absolutely.
dancing,
You're
same thing.
you're sparring and you want to win.
Yeah.
And in dance, there's a perfect ideal. And although yoga is physical, it doesn't have a goal.
Right.
And so if you practice yoga for several decades and there are poses that you quote unquote can never do, okay.
That doesn't make
Like
you a loser.
it literally means nothing. It
Right.
literally means nothing. I mean, there are poses I will never be able to do. There are poses I used to be able to do that I'll never be able to do again. It means nothing.
Right.
It has nothing to do with yoga. It means nothing at all. And it takes some mental practice to
Mm.
get over
Hmm.
because get over that.
Yeah.
There isn't a goal.
Yeah.
We're not trying to win anything.
No, and that's the hard part for me too when I think about like my yoga practice and like when I really, really, really wanted to be able to learn how to do a handstand early on,
Hmm.
right?
Yeah.
And so,
Yeah.
and for years, like I still practice handstands. I still practice trying to
Sure.
hop into a handstand or float to the top of my mat. And I've recognized over the years that a lot of it doesn't have to do with my physical capabilities. It has to do with my mental capacity to see myself doing
Yeah.
those things. Like the mind is powerful. The breath is the communication, tool between the body and the breath and the mind. And that's how, if you can think about yourself doing that pose, that doesn't always mean that you have to be perfect in that pose or that you're going to get that pose, but just have fun trying, right? Like
Yeah, like you said,
practice,
practice is the point.
practice for
Practice is
progress, right? Not for
yeah,
perfectionism.
yeah,
Okay. So the next one is one of our favorites, number 4. Silence is sacred.
yeah, yeah.
That is a big one for you and me. And I really love where we teach right now. We're able to provide silence in the beginning of class and
Mhm,
silence shavasana at the end of class. And
mhm.
there is something so magical and special about being in a room with other people and it's silent.
Yes.
And you're there on your mat with your body, your breath, your mind, and you're able to kind of drop in, that saying like drop into meditation or drop into your shavasana practice. But
Mhm.
silence is sacred. And you and I run into it a lot. And we've all as yogis have probably run into it where, someone's coming in late and they're coming in
Mhm.
during the time that's silent, or, at the end of class, it's shavasana and they realize that they need to leave. So,
Mhm.
for all you new yogis out there wanting to try yoga, just remember get there before class starts and stay till the end of class. And for some
Mhm.
reason, if you can't make it there on time and
Mhm.
the teacher, you can feel free to call the studio, let them know you're going to be late, or let them know to leave the door unlocked or to be able to roll your mat out for you. But if you got to
Yeah,
leave early,
absolutely.
tell the teacher you got to leave early and leave before Shavasana.
Shavasana. Yeah, the silence is sacred. If you are in the room and you have a need, you've shown up late, you're leaving early, whatever it is, and the room is silent, you need to stop moving.
Hmm.
If you've come in late and everyone is silent, you need to literally come in the door and stop moving.
Hmm.
Don't put your mat down. Don't do anything. Just stand against the wall and don't make any sound and do not move
Hmm.
until the class starts to move again. It won't last very long. It's
No.
going to take top 60 seconds.
Yep.
And when the instructor starts to talk again and people start to move again, then you move to your spot, you put your mat down. Same thing with if you have to leave early. Life happens.
Hmm.
Your life may not fall within the confines of the class time. That's fine. You have to leave before Shavasana. You have to leave while the instructor's talking, while students are moving.
Hmm.
If you wait until everyone is lying down and already quiet, you have waited too long.
Hmm.
If you're lying in Shavasana and you decide you're bored or whatever is happening,
Yeah.
you're stuck, folks. You're
Right.
stuck.
Hmm. Like at the end of the day, we're talking about 5 minutes of quiet time, right? At the end of class. And I find it really interesting because people struggle with silence and it
Yeah,
makes
yeah,
people
they do.
super
Yeah, they really
uncomfortable.
do.
And then, I also could argue the complete flip side of this. Okay. So, say silence is sacred, but
Mhm.
part of the practice of yoga is being able to exist in places where it might not be like you're, a yogi sitting on a mountaintop by yourself meditating, right? You may be
Yeah,
like downtown Times Square, sitting on the sidewalk and meditating and having to block out
absolutely.
all of the noise. So you could argue, like, hey, well, that's also your practice to stay silent, but it's hard to do that
It
when
is hard.
people are moving around or coming in late, the doors opening, yoga blocks, whatever it may be, mats, water bottles. I mean, how many times has somebody kicked over a water
Oh
bottle?
my word.
And I'm just like, it's fine. Like at the
Every
end of the day,
class.
every class, I'm like, it's not a yoga class if a water bottle doesn't get kicked over. And it's got to be a
Yeah,
big
for
metal
sure.
one. It's got to be a big metal one. And you
Always.
know what? At the end of the day, I've had it happen to me where I went to a yoga class in Chicago, and I think I shared the story on the podcast before, but it was like one of my like all time favorite teachers, Gabriel Halpern, and he is just this magical, amazing yoga teacher. And I would love to go down to his studio in Chicago and I would practice down there. And one time I went in and it was like a few times, I'd been there a few times and I felt like I knew the place. Like I was comfortable, like with where I would put my stuff. And, he was an Iyengar based studio. So there were props galore, like way more than anything else. Like it literally was like walking into like a big like Home Depot, It's like, what do you need? We've got concrete, we've got super glue, we've got this, we've got that. But when I walked in, I had my water bottle filled with ice, filled with water, and I walked in and dropped it in the
Oh yeah.
middle of the lobby,
Yeah.
right? And it was like, and what was funny was like, no one came to help me. I stood there and was like, there's ice all over this carpet, right? I am embarrassed. I'm like, fuck, what am I going to do? I'm like running to the bathroom to get the like cheap brown paper towels to try to like pick up
Oh
this
yeah.
ice.
Something.
I'm like so embarrassed. And then I go clean it all up, go to settle in for the class. And we're getting ready to move from the Dharma talk to the actual practice. And I kick my water bottle over in the middle of the yoga studio again. Same day,
Again.
same exact class. I was fucking horrified. It was like clang, clang, water everywhere, all over the beautiful wood floor, and with the Home Depot walls. And
It's
I'm
like
just
the
like,
nightmare yoga
yes,
experience.
I was so embarrassed. I was so embarrassed. But at the end of the day,
What are you gonna
what am I
do?
going to
Like,
do?
what are
Yeah.
you gonna do?
And no one
I think
kicked me
all
out.
of us, I think all of us has kicked over a water bottle. But not the Iyengar, the Ashtanga studio that I belong to, you couldn't bring water in.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah.
You couldn't bring water in. You couldn't bring a strap or a block or anything. It was just you and your mat.
Yeah. We should tell people too that like each yoga studio is going to be a little bit different, right? But
Yeah, that's true. That's very true.
the bottom line is that you don't have to have a mat 9 chances out of 10. You can rent one.
Hmm. True.
You may or may not have props depending on the studio.
Yeah,
You definitely need to be barefoot. I don't really know
absolutely.
of a yoga studio where, you know, you're wearing shoes. I mean, I guess you could, but I don't know of anybody.
Hmm.
And really it's like just go in and practice. Practice being with your breath and yourself.
Yeah. Have you ever have you ever been to a yoga studio where the members or the clients could bring all of their stuff in and put it next to the mat?
Mm,
Like their duffel bag and their shoes and everything, and it was all just stacked up next to the mat?
no, not really. I mean, no, it's that is a really good point because it is that idea of separation, right? Of
Mhm,
that attachment of leaving it
mhm.
outside the door. So there is something to be
Right,
said
right,
about that. Yeah, I don't think I
right.
have. I mean, yeah, there's been classes that I've been to where people have brought like their, you know,
Which is
their
why I bring it
baggage.
up.
Yeah, their
Yeah,
baggage.
exactly. It's why I bring it up. Like I've never been a student or an instructor somewhere where that was protocol.
Hmm.
However, I have had students who come in with everything and that just felt normal to them. And there's 30 people, but there's this one person who has their duffel bag and their shoes
Hmm.
and their phone and their drink and I'm like, well, there were cubbies outside the door. But
Yeah.
I never really knew if that was just them or if
Yeah.
that was some studios were like that or not.
Yeah. No, I'm thinking back to my time in Chicago and in Florida and Georgia. I mean, I don't think I've ever been in a yoga studio that's like you can leave your stuff next to your mat. It's because it's really like it's like a safety hazard for the instructor for
Yeah.
because I mean I will say I've almost broken someone's glasses because they took their glasses off during class and put them down
Um,
next to the mat, not on the mat. And
yeah, yeah,
it was a
yeah,
slippery floor because obviously people were sweating. And I remember like walking across the floor and seeing these glasses and being like, don't step on them. And then I've like done the splits in the middle of the room because I'm trying to avoid something that I don't want to hit, you know? I've kicked
yeah, yeah, yeah,
people's feet when I've walked through the studio. I've knocked over somebody's water bottle when I've walked through,
yeah,
especially in the beginning or the end of class when it's dark and quiet. It's like I always am worried about that. I always try to leave the lights on just a little bit for students when they first walk in. So it's
yeah,
like they can see, and then I'll turn the lights down when I know everybody's down. It's like safety first.
yeah,
All right, you
yeah.
ready for number three?
Hit me with number three.
Number
They're getting
three.
more and more important.
No, they are. So, number three, breathing is
Oh
the whole
yeah,
deal. Breathing is it.
100%. Yeah.
So, yoga isn't about the physical practice. It's not about the poses. It's not about what you can do and what you can't do. It's only about your breath. Because when you're
Hmm.
breathing, that is when you're mindful. That is when you're in your body. That is when you're controlling your reactions and your responses. So,
Hmm.
breathing is it. So, if you want to be a yogi, just start breathing, like
Yeah.
mindfully breathe. Natalie and I work with a lot of different clients, and we see a lot of different people every single day that don't
Hmm.
know how to breathe because they were
Absolutely.
never taught. If you ask an average Joe to put their hand on their heart and their hand on their belly, and you
Hmm.
ask them, which hand moves the most when you're breathing? They will tell you, my heart, my hand on my heart, because everyone takes that upper quadrant paradoxical breathing because of stress in their lives. They don't
Yeah.
get a deep breath. They don't expand their diaphragm. They don't open up the space of their lung capacity. And then we wonder why we don't live that long. We get sick. We're mouth breathers.
Yeah.
We're not patient with ourselves. We can't regulate our nervous systems or how we're quick to react to things. Breath is, if yoga taught me anything, it's that the largest thing that I have in my toolbox to get through life is breathing, is my breath.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. And I think sometimes you'll be in a yoga class and you'll hear the instructor say, pay attention to your breath. Use your ujjayi breath or your yoga breath. And if you're unable to do that, then do less, move less, do less poses,
Hmm.
do them less strenuously. Um, and that's a very real thing.
Hmm.
Uh, we've been talking about flexibility isn't the point. Well, what is the point? The point, w- one of the points is um, learning to breathe and being mindful of your breath, noticing your breath, controlling your breath. And if you've reached a point in the sequence where you're no longer do that, and then you notice it, it's the moment when you notice
Noticing.
it. It's
Hmm.
not a problem that you've stopped the yoga breath or the that's going to happen, but
Hmm.
the moment when you notice, that's the prize. You're like, oh, I'm panting or I'm not breathing. So many
Mm-hmm.
people just stop breathing. And you've learned to notice that that's happened. And then you slow down and you pay attention to your breath and you take control of your breath. Um, uh, and and that's what you're learning to do. You're not learning to be perfect and to
Mm-hmm.
breathe perfect and to move perfect. You're just learning to have that aha moment where you go, oh my goodness, I've stopped breathing.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm going to fix that now.
It's like the
Till the next
noticing.
moment.
Yeah. It's the
Yeah.
noticing
Yeah.
muscle. It's the noticing muscle that you're
Yeah.
working on your yoga mat. You're
Yeah.
noticing
Yeah. I
even,
like that.
yeah, it's
Yeah.
even like not only just like, am I breathing, but like, where are my thoughts? Right?
Yeah.
Like how many
Yeah.
times I've been in a yoga class where I've been like thinking intently about, are my feet right? Do I feel this
Hmm.
where the teacher says I'm supposed to feel this? Is this muscle working? Can I stay here longer? Oh my God, I hate this
Hmm.
pose, right? Like,
Yeah.
what am I going to eat for lunch? Like all of a sudden, all of these thoughts are just kind of racing through your head. But it's like, in order to calm down the noise, you have to find your breath and that noticing muscle of saying, like, it's not about being like, oh my God, I'm such a fucking idiot that I'm not present on my mat and da 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 da.
Right.
It's like,
Right. Right. Right.
no,
Right. Right.
it's just notice it and move on because the more you notice it, the more you practice it, the more progressive you'll get in being able to be a healthier, happier, nicer human being because you
Yeah.
won't be up in your head or you won't be, thinking about things that aren't going to be able to help you in that moment. What helps you in that moment is your breath.
Right. There is no class. There's no moment where you're like, oh, I did all the poses perfectly and
Right?
my breath was perfect and I was in a meditative state for an hour. And like that doesn't exist.
Nope. Nope.
But you might get to the point where it happens more often where you're like, oh, my mind wandered off.
Hmm.
I'm going to bring it back. Oh my goodness, I've completely stopped breathing again. Let me try to get a handle on that.
Yeah,
And and with any luck, that happens a little more often than it used to.
absolutely. Which I think is a good segue to number two.
Let's hear it.
There's no right way, just your
Mm,
way.
yeah,
And like
yeah.
literally, okay, so like I always have an issue. I'll kind of flat out say it. It drives me crazy when people are so hell bent on being a yogi, right? And they're like,
Hmm.
I'm a yogi because I'm a vegan and I like don't hurt people and I'm like so flexible and I can meditate and I have a breathwork practice. It's like you can still be an asshole, right? Like
Right,
you can still be an asshole. Your
right,
the right way is your way. And that's saying that like your body is not like anybody else. And so if
right.
you want to be able to do a pose or move in a certain way, it's your way because your body is the only one that's built the way it is. So like when you look at students, and I always makes me sad when students say, am I doing it right? Am I doing it right? And I'm like,
Yeah.
there is no right. I'm like, first
No,
of
I
all,
mean, I think the only right is are you doing in a way that's not going to harm you and your anatomy?
mhm, yeah.
And short of that, there is no right. And you and I have when we've been studying for anatomy courses together, and we've looked at some pictures, and it's shocking how different individual anatomy can
Hmm.
be. Like you just wouldn't think that the human body can have that many variations. And even within your body's not symmetrical. One hip is not going to work exactly like the other hip.
Yep.
Um, and so you just sort of have to roll with those differences. And are we going to like adjust where your foot is or where your knee is a little bit? Yeah, we want your foot and your knee to be lined up because that's how the joints are meant to work. You
Hmm.
can't have your knee going to the right and your foot going to the left.
Right. Well, and it's also like,
But short of injuring yourself, like you're going to do what your body does.
right. Well, and it's also like when you say, like, am I doing it right? I can't tell you that because I don't have x ray vision as a teacher. I can't
Mm.
look through your body and go, yes, her quadratus lumboris and her transverse abdominis and her gastrocnemius are all firing. Like, it's like, no, I'm not looking at you that way. What I'm telling you
Right.
is I'm directing energy in your body, I'm directing action in your body as a yoga teacher. So if I tell you to push down into your right big toe, right? There's an action that I'm telling you to do that has a transaction of energy in your body. And so
Hmm.
when people say, am I doing it right? I say to them, where do you feel it?
Mhm.
Because if you're not feeling, the poses have intentions, right? All these poses have an intention, whether it's like a beautiful kind of mythological intention or spiritual intention, or like or an actual like physical, you should feel this in the pose. There's so many different ways that you can interpret a yoga pose. But at the end of the day, that's the beauty of it, because it's not one way, it's your way.
Yeah,
Many,
absolutely.
many paths, one truth.
Yeah. And I'm not sure if you've ever had a student that'll come up to you and they'll be like, I can't do this on my left side. Like, I
Yes.
don't know why. I can't do it on my left side. Like, I've been working really, really hard and I push and I this and I then I just can't do it on my left side. And they're really frustrated and even angry. And you're just like, it's fine.
Hmm.
It's like your asymmetry is the norm. Your body is not identical. And just let it go. Just let it go.
Absolutely.
Um,
Well,
because you
even
are doing it on both sides and it doesn't look exactly the same. And
right.
that's okay.
Well, even to the point of
It's
like,
not, it's more than okay. It's normal.
it's normal. And it's like when people say, I can't do this, I can't do this, that I want to say, you can't do that yet. Right. I
Sure.
just don't like it
Yeah.
when people limit themselves by the words that they speak. Right. So if you say, like, I
That's
can't
true.
do
We do
this,
hear a lot of that.
we
I'm
do.
not flexible.
Yeah, I'm
I
not
can't do
flexible.
yoga. I'm not flexible.
Right. I can't do that.
Like,
Right.
okay.
It's like, or I can't, it's like, maybe you can't do that today. Maybe you'll never be able to do it. But at the end of the
Yeah,
day,
yeah,
when you
yeah.
say, I can't do it, you just told yourself you can't do it. You're going to have a really hard time overcoming that in your own
Yeah.
mind. And so that's why, like, when I go back to the handstand story, right? Like, I want to learn to float or jump to the top of my
Yeah.
mat. I have to see myself doing it in my mind's eye. And that's been
Yeah.
the big practice for me. It's not the physical of like keep throwing yourself up against, this handstand practice. It's like take the moment to meditate and see yourself doing it. And then it's like your body, your way. Now, that's not to say that like your teacher is going to be able to see opportunities for you to grow, right? That you may not be able to see because you're
Yeah.
in
Yeah.
your own
Yeah.
damn body. You can't see it, right? That's a huge piece of yoga and any practice, really being a personal trainer, being with people and working one-on-one with them. Literally everybody is different. And that
Mm-hmm.
shows
Mm-hmm.
me that like you really do need to work with a teacher or a personal trainer or somebody that can watch your body with an expert eye to say, hey, you can go a little deeper if you were to move X, Y, or Z, right?
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
could
Yeah.
you could hold this posture for 10 more breaths if you did an activation of this, right? So it's like
Yeah.
having someone there is no right way, it's your way, but having someone there that can also help support you to get to where you want to go is crucial in your body as well.
Yeah, not to, blatantly plug what we do, but
Yeah. But we're kind of a big
I'll go,
deal. I'm just
but
kidding.
I'll go ahead and blatantly plug what we do.
Exactly.
But one of the advantages of getting to work with someone one on one is their part. They have half of it is they have the education to go, okay, I need you to sit up taller here. I need you to activate these muscles. I need you to pull in here and lock in there. And then the other half of it is their support system. They're a cheerleader. It's like,
Hmm.
okay, we have just used all the muscles. I've poked you in all the places, reminded you to use all of these muscles, and you're doing it well, you're doing it great. I know you can take it farther. I know you can do the
Hmm.
thing you're afraid to try to do next. I can see in your body
Hmm.
that you're strong enough to do this thing you're afraid of. And that's one of the lovely things about having the opportunity to work with someone one on one. But I'll stop there.
No, I agree with you though, because I mean, a lot of times, we hear it on a daily basis. Like it's expensive to have someone one on one, a session, private sessions. It's expensive, but
Yeah.
if
Yeah.
you're committed to
It
learning
is.
about your
Yeah,
body,
absolutely.
then you should at least try a few private sessions with either a personal trainer, a yoga instructor, a Pilates instructor, anybody that has
Yeah.
the experience levels with doing private
Yeah.
sessions one on one that can look at your body and help you figure out how to move it from a third party perspective. So that's the beauty of it is like I tell my clients
Absolutely.
all the time, I'm like, I don't look at you and go, oh my God, she's such a loser because her right foot is like a half a size smaller than her left. And she pronates like a son of a bitch. It's like, I don't care. I look at the
That's not what
body.
we're thinking.
Yeah, no, it's like, I almost look at it as like, it's like Tetris or like a game. It's like, okay, how do I help them move their body, move their bones,
Yeah.
activate those
Yeah. The
muscles.
moving, get the pieces. Yeah.
Yeah, get it to the
Yeah.
place where it can
Yeah.
then
Yeah.
take
Yeah. Yeah.
shape, right? Take that shape in the body. And when
Yeah.
you get to see someone and you work with someone and they have that moment of aha in their body or in their mind, and like a posture or an exercise, it's like such a magical moment
It
because
is.
you can't
Yeah.
always
When
do it on
someone
your own.
discovers they're stronger than they knew they were,
Hmm.
or that they can do something they didn't know they were capable of.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's yeah.
it's
That
magic.
that's a wonderful payback.
It's
Yeah.
magic. So, I
Yeah.
mean, if number two tells you anything, it's like there is no right way. There's just your way. But also spend some time working with professionals, with experts in whatever movement that you like to do
Yeah.
to help you in
Yeah.
your body.
Someone
And
who's going to help you understand your way, what you're capable of. Yeah.
mhm.
Yeah.
Are you
Yeah.
ready for number one?
Absolutely. Hit me with number one.
All right. Well, this one you said was your favorite. All
This
right.
is my favorite. I remember number one. This is my favorite.
You want to go with number one, though? I'll let you introduce it.
You'll let me introduce it. Okay. This is Adrienne's line. She always says suffering is optional. Did I get it right?
Suffering is optional. Now, let's be sure. I
But
probably should make sure that I am the one that I don't think I ever came up with that. That's like a quote that somebody said, I'm sure, at some point. It's probably part of a quote. So no copyright here, right? But it is my
okay. Well, the
favorite.
first time I heard it
Mhm.
is in Adrienne's class, and I think you say it in every
I
class.
do.
Um, and I love it because um it distills things that I've tried to say in much more complicated ways. It just distills it down to the point. Um, is it okay if you're uncomfortable? Yeah, absolutely. Is it okay if you don't know how to do something? Absolutely.
Hmm.
Is it okay if you're in pain? No.
Hmm.
No,
Hmm.
that's not okay.
Exactly.
That's not the point. That no pain, no gain, it has no space in a yoga studio.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's not what we're doing there.
I
That's
mean,
not what we're doing there.
struggling is inevitable,
Yeah.
right?
Oh,
Struggling
yeah,
is going
yeah,
to
yeah.
happen. You're going to get on that mat
Yeah.
and it is going to push you. And there may be days where you're like, sorry, I'm not into this right now. You take child's pose, you take shavasana,
Yeah.
you take care of you. But at the end of the day, suffering is optional. You get to choose how you feel in that moment. So you can struggle, you can fail. I also say fail fabulously, right?
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, it's not about being something different than what you are in that very, very moment and being able to be with yourself the way you are and being uncomfortable in or finding
Hmm.
comfort in an uncomfortable setting
Yeah.
is kind
Yeah.
of how we can get better at being a good person in life is, hey, it's a little uncomfortable here, but I know that I'm okay. I'm not
Yeah.
suffering. I'm not in pain. I mean, that's the
Right.
bottom line is like, you don't have to suffer.
Well, and I like that you brought up the word struggle. If it's just like
Mhm.
any other part of your life, where there's a lot of value in the struggle.
Yeah.
But again, we're not trying to put you in pain. Do not tie yourself into a knot where all of your joints are screaming at you, this is the wrong thing to do.
Hmm.
Um, as a just a little aside to that, sometimes when we have someone who's new to exercise, I think they don't know the difference between
Mm.
uncomfortable and pain. They don't
100%.
know the difference between, oh, this is an uncomfortable stretch and this is painful. Um, And I think that's an important lesson to learn. I think you're less likely to get hurt if you can differentiate between
Yes.
I'm doing something new and I'm doing something harmful.
One of my
Um,
favorite clients early on, well, not early on, but like when I lived up in Chicago, he was a private client of mine. He came 2 or 3 times a week to practice with me. And when we first started working together, he was like, I hate this. And I was like,
Mm.
what do you hate? And he's
You're
like,
like, you're paying me to do something you hate?
yeah.
That's not ideal.
And I'm like, well, what's going on? I'm like, why do you hate this? I'm like, we've been talking about this. You've been doing it. You've been doing great. And he's
Yeah.
like, I'm in pain
Oh
every
dear.
day. And I go, okay, talk to me about your pain. He goes, well,
Hmm.
I can't sit on the toilet because when I go to sit down, it hurts. And I go, is it like a sharp, stabbing, electric, like gonna put you on the floor kind of pain? He's like,
Yeah.
no. He's like, my muscles hurt.
Yeah.
Okay. I
Yeah.
go, all right, buddy, let's think about this for a second. You're not in pain. You're
Yeah.
sore. You worked
Yeah.
out. Your muscles are
Yeah.
saying, they may be screaming at you the next day, right? You may
Right.
have pushed them too far that they're screaming at you. But like you said, the difference between pain and
Hmm.
uncomfortableness is
Yeah.
something that everybody has to learn on their own because we all have different levels of pain threshold, right? Some of us
Right.
can like, you know, really, run across glass or, fire or whatever, and we're fine. Others of us,
Oh
get
dear.
a
That's
splinter.
not that's not the objective either.
No, it's like some people have like a splinter and they go to the ER. It's like
Yeah. 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 And they
everybody
fall
has a
apart.
different
Yeah.
level of
For
pain, but
sure.
it's the noticing muscle. Again, it's going back to
Yeah.
noticing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
where
Yeah.
do where do I feel this in my body? I ask every client that I work with, I'm like, where are you feeling this? Where are you
Yeah.
feeling this? And they're like, a lot of times they're like, I don't know.
Yeah. I do hear that a lot. And I think um because I've always movement's always been a part of my life.
Mhm.
Um, and so I'm always really surprised by that answer. I was like, how do you not know? Except that I've
Yeah.
heard it many, many, many times. And so it turns out, yeah, there's a whole chunk of the population that isn't connected to their body. They're not moving their body and they don't know what they're feeling, where they're feeling. They don't know what a sore muscle feels like as opposed to when an injured
Yeah.
body part. And I'm like,
Right.
oh,
Yeah.
um,
But
yeah, that's
that's
a real thing.
That's the
That's a
practice,
real thing.
though. Keep
Yeah,
going
yeah,
to your
yeah.
mat, keep practicing and keep
Keep
listening
practicing.
inward, right? I
Yeah.
I do find it funny, like when a teacher's like, listen to your body. I'm like, what does that actually mean when you say that to me? Because that just seems like a bunch of fluffy horse shit. What it's more about is like, instead of listening to your body, notice your body, pay
Yeah.
attention to your body, stop
Yeah.
thinking about what is going to happen later or what happened earlier or how you're going to dress for tomorrow's dinner. Think about what's
Yeah.
happening right now. Where do I feel the work happening? Because there's so many times where I've looked at people moving and I'm like, where are you moving from? And they're like, I'm moving from my legs. I'm like, no,
No,
you're
you're
just
not.
flinging your body around. You're not activating any muscles. Nothing is happening right
Yeah.
now.
Yeah, yeah,
You
yeah.
know?
I have seen that where you're like, wow, wow, that was just flinging.
Yeah,
Like that was just momentum. You've got it moving from one side to the other. And I'm not sure any muscles were
no.
involved.
And
That
so
was dangerous.
it's super important to just really know that like when you go to your yoga mat, it's never going to be perfect. It's never going to be beautiful. It's never going to be, aesthetically gorgeous every moment on your mat. But at the end of the day, you're practicing yoga to alleviate your own suffering, to learn
Yeah.
how to be with yourself, because that's the only thing that you have. You have
Yeah.
nothing else but your own body. So learn how to take care of it, learn how to be with it and enjoy it and love it, because that's it. That's what you get right now. You get what you get and you don't get upset.
my my I knew someone who used to say, "You get what you get, and you don't throw a fit."
Yes, that's a good one too. It's a good
That's your
one
body is
too.
what you got. Okay, all right. So you said, like, can I call it your pet peeve
Yeah.
when instructors are like, "Listen to your body," and you're
Hmm.
like, "I don't know what the fuck that means."
Exactly.
Listen to your body. Do you have any other yoga pet
Oh my
peeves?
God. Oh, yes. So, one that's been a big one for me over the years is when teachers decide to use a word that is
Hmm.
not the word for what we're doing, right? For
Okay.
example,
Okay.
the word is chaturanga.
Sure.
Chaturanga is four limbed staff pose. It basically means you are halfway down in a tricep push-up, and it is a
Okay.
beast of a pose to do. And
Yeah.
90% of the class, 99% of the time, is not doing it right. They're doing it wrong, or they're doing it
Fair.
in a way that's going to be injured, or they may have a perfect one in their body for that moment, and then the rest of them are shit. But when a teacher decides to say the word vinyasa,
I know this one bothers
oh,
you.
it really bothers me. Vinyasa is a word that means to place in a special way.
Is
Okay.
that what it
It
means? I
means
thought it
to,
meant something else.
I'll Google it real quickly, but hold
No,
on.
it's all good. I do remember years ago when I took yoga teacher training, the first yoga teacher training, and they like, because you're learning your Sanskrit, and they defined vinyasa. And I remember that it had nothing to do with what instructors before and since always call vinyasa. And I do remember being confused. I was
Hmm.
like, if that's the definition, then why are all of us going vinyasa when we want them to transition
Yeah.
um, into downward facing dog? It's like uh, go through plank into up dog into downward facing dog to vinyasa. And I was like, I couldn't figure out how to
Mm-mm.
draw a line from A to B,
No,
but everybody says it, and so I just accepted it. I was like,
it makes
okay,
me
well,
mental. And I think it's just it's a pet peeve because I know teachers are smarter than that. Right. So like like I'm looking it up right now and it's saying
I
here,
say it. I have said it. I will never ever say it again though, because I know it.
you can say it
I
again.
know,
It's
I know.
my personal pet peeve.
I have just followed the sheep, and I've learned to use it that way.
Yeah.
But I do remember in teacher training that that wasn't the definition. I remember
Mm-mm.
being confused.
No, so vinyasa means literally to place in a special way. It says here it can be it emphasizes the linking of breath with movement. So basically, if you're in a
Yeah,
class like
the linking of
vinyasa,
breath with
yeah,
movement.
so vinyasa
Okay.
yoga, right? There is vinyasa yoga. That means
Hmm.
breath to movement, to place your breath in a special way as you're flowing, as you're moving. So to take a pose called chaturanga and then say vinyasa, it's very confusing for students when
Yeah.
for example, I a lot of times don't even say chaturanga. Actually, I don't even remember the last time I actually cued a chaturanga in a yoga class. I
Hmm.
say high plank to your belly, cobra, high plank to down dog, nataranga. I give options in the
Not
beginning
a
of
wrong.
class. I do. I'm like, you want to try my favorite? Nataranga. Just go from high plank to down dog. You're done. Right.
Yeah.
Or I'll say flow back to down dog. And flow is
I
your
usually say
way.
meet me in dog.
Yeah. Meet me in down dog. Right. Yeah.
Meet me in dog. Meet me in downward facing dog. Like whatever works for you right now at this point in the class.
Yeah.
Let's all end up in downward facing dog.
It just makes me mental because I'm thinking to myself, like, this is also like not our language. This is
Mm,
Sanskrit. This is an
yeah.
ancient, language, and this is not even from the US. So let's have enough common decency for a language to say vinyasa is to place in a special way. It's flow, it's breath to movement. Fine.
Yeah,
The
I think
whole
that was the
thing.
definition I got in teacher training was uh timing the breath and the movement.
Mhm.
Is that what it
Yeah.
said? I think
Yeah.
I
So, like, what I saw online was like, that it's often described as moments where the breath and the poses are synchronized.
yeah, yeah, I think that sounds right, especially since, like we said before, I went through Ashtanga training, and it's all breath and movement is the synchronization is really focused on.
Yeah. Oh,
But
here's another
I
one.
do. I was like, I'm confused. Why
Yeah.
do we use it?
Here's another one that says it has a lot of different meanings, right? In Sanskrit, it translates to special placing, orderly arrangement, or putting together.
Really?
So we're doing that. We're doing that throughout the whole
Hmm.
class. There
Yeah,
is
yeah, yeah.
nothing, we're not doing it in just a chaturanga. And so I think that people just be smart about it. And the other thing too, okay, another big pet peeve, if you can't say it in Sanskrit, don't say it in Sanskrit.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah.
If you can't say it
Yeah,
in Sanskrit, don't say it in Sanskrit. Practice at home, practice with other teachers, practice with your friends, practice recording yourself saying it. Learn from someone who you know. I know my pronunciation is probably not even close to what it should be.
yeah,
But my pronunciation I've learned throughout my studies with my teachers who have said it
right.
in that way. We're obviously all have different dialects and different, what's it called? Like what's it called? Like nuances of your voice or
Right.
inflections and such,
Intonations.
intonations. That's it.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah, I get that. But like, this is a practice that came over for, it's not something we're commodifying yoga in the US. Like everything is about yoga pants and yoga beautiful and all this stuff. But it's like at the end of the day, this is an ancient practice that is for you and your body, right?
Yeah.
It's you and your body. It's that union, vinyasa or whatever word you want to say in Sanskrit. Just please, like, just be respectful as best as you can. I'm not saying to be perfect, right? Just saying be respectful and use the words as they're intended. So you asked me my pet peeve. I'm gonna ask you your pet peeve. What's one of your pet peeves?
Okay. One of my pet peeves is those really, really beautiful yoga poses and photographs that are taken at like, gorgeous outdoor nature spots, but they're always kind of dangerous.
Yeah.
Like you were just hiking and you came to this dangerous cliff and you decided to stand on the very edge in the most dangerous spot and like do a figure eight pose. Like and do some kind of wacky arm movements. I
Yeah.
hate those pictures. I
Yeah.
hate those photos. They just seem so strange. And it's always like someone like, just standing there under normal set circumstances would be dangerous, but this yogi has
Hmm.
decided that they're going to do, like a really dangerous one-arm balance pose
Yeah.
and maybe fall to their death,
Yeah.
under the lovely waterfall or whatever it is. I'm like, I don't understand what the reasoning
I
is.
mean, I get it if
It's
you're
like
like, if you're a photographer and like you're trying to like
I
create
guess.
art, right? But if you're
Yeah.
like, hey, I want to blow up on the gram and I'm going to go viral because I'm going to post this picture, that's not the practice, right? You're just
Yeah.
you're taking the practice, you're taking the pose out of the practice, the meaning out of the practice, and just taking the pose as
Right.
like, this is what it is. And
And
that's,
I think
you know,
it's just so ego driven. I think that's what bothers me. It's like I want people to come to my class at the end of the workday and just feel less tired,
hmm,
just feel less shitty.
yep, yep,
Just have their day be a little bit better. Like that's what I'm after. That's my point. And when you're looking at somebody who's ridiculously fit in a gorgeous scenic setting
hmm,
who's dangling off of the end of a cliff
yeah.
doing their crazy yoga pose. I'm like, it's just so ego driven.
And
I'm just
it's not
like,
yoga.
you like, no, like that's not what we're doing here.
No,
Like,
we're
please
not
just
doing that.
come sit on the mat and try to have a better day.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. And that's, I mean, if any new yogis or wannabe yogis or want to go to a yoga studio, if this episode helped you in any way, I really hope it did. But like just know that just showing up is 80% of success. Just
Yeah,
get your ass to
absolutely.
your mat. Just try it
Get your
out.
ass to your mat.
Put your shoes in the cubby, put your phone in the cubby, get your ass on the mat,
Get your ass on
shut
the
up,
mat.
breathe, and move. And
Shut up is a good one. That's
and
a good one
and
too.
stay for shavasana.
And
Stay
stay for
for
Shavasana.
shavasana.
Because I know why you brought that up. That is my huge pet peeve. Do
Hmm.
not do not make any noise when the room is silent.
Yep.
Do not get up in the middle of Shavasana and
Yep.
gather your stuff
Yep. Unless you're going to shit your pants or something really bad is going to happen.
really bad.
And we will all,
You're
as
gonna have
yoga
to wait two
teachers,
more
yeah,
minutes.
you can wait 2 more minutes. And that's what I love. I think it was like I don't know, some relative of mine, my mom told me about that, like when we would be driving someplace and we would be in a rush, she would say, well,
Mhm.
so and so says that if you're in such a rush, you should have left 5 minutes earlier. So it's like at the end of the day, if you're in a rush and you are going to be 5 minutes late because you stayed for 5 minutes of Shavasana, unless it's like a surgery and like somebody's
Right.
life is on the line, an emergency situation,
Like you're fine.
stay. You're fine. You're
You're gonna
fine.
survive.
You'll find those
Yeah,
5 minutes
please.
someplace else.
Yeah, please read the room.
Read the
And
room.
if the room looks like if the lights are turned down and there are 30 other people lying on their back with their eyes closed
Yep.
and the room is silent, I
Hmm.
want you to take that as an indication that this is not the appropriate time to make any noise.
Exactly. Exactly. And just know that, like, at the end of the day, it's a practice. Go,
Yes.
enjoy it, and keep coming back. And we've said this before in the podcast a million times. If you go to a class and you don't like it, that doesn't mean yoga's not for you. Try another class, try another teacher,
Yes.
try another studio, try a different
Yes.
type of yoga. Just
Yes.
keep trying, because there is value in a practice that's personal for you.
Yeah. There are classes on every inch of the spectrum, from super fast and super sweaty all the way to super slow and super quiet, and every possible stop in between.
Yep.
And so if you go into a class and it doesn't suit you, try another.
Yeah, exactly. Well, thanks, Natalie. This was fun. I like doing this little top 10 kind of like rogue
Yeah.
episode. We just kind of pop it in there and see what our listeners think. If you've got a story about yoga that you want to share, email us, DM us, yogachanged@gmail.com. You can follow us on the gram, Yoga Changed. Use our hashtag HYCML. Follow us, rate, review, subscribe, all those fun things that we have to keep reminding you to do. We've had some really, really amazing guests on the pod. Can't wait to have more. We've got a ton of like authors lately that are starting to
That's
pop up.
fantastic.
So we've got some really, really cool things in the pipeline. I'm just so
We
grateful.
do. We've had some really interesting people who've reached out. It's so exciting.
It's very exciting, very exciting. And the coolest part to me is like, I don't really care if you're a celebrity, because I'd much rather hear from like average Joe yogi, because
Yeah.
that's the
Yeah.
stories that mean the most to me, because it's about that person, right? Everyone has a little story to share, and yoga connects us
Absolutely.
in such a beautiful way. So share this episode with someone you love or someone who wants to try yoga, and definitely reach out to us and let us know how you feel as well. Natalie, thank you. And I will see you next week.
Thank you. Thank you for listening. And thank you, Adrienne, for inviting me along on this top 10 list.
Always, always. All right. Bye, yogis.